As you can see on our agenda, we finished the evaluation portion of our cluster by looking at the impact of academic feedback on student work. And we've looked at the identification of our need by reviewing our school and cluster goals and our cluster outcome. So now it's time for our RIT progress and classroom progress. Where's Waldo? Remember that when we do Where's Waldo, we first identify our student, then we give the beginning RIT map reading score, and we identify whether the growth has been positive or negative and try to figure out why, and we compare that to our classroom performance using quantitative data. And remember, it's for the candy bar. Yes. Who can tell me the reason why we're specifically looking at Where's Waldo and using that in our cluster? Jessica, go ahead.
We want to make sure that the instructional strategies that we're learning in our cluster meetings are carrying over into our classroom, and more specifically, student achievement with that laser beam focus on each student.
Wow, that's great definition. Okay, and since we've been to this table, let's move over to this table, and can I have a volunteer for Where's Waldo? Joyce, go ahead.
I can. Where's Waldo, or where's Trista in my case? Let me find, where is she? Here's Trista. Trista's map score was at 182 in the fall. She moved up at 197 at the winter test. And with your permission, I'm going to move her. In the spring, she's at 205.
Wow.
I know. So I'm going to move her on up. So I was very pleased with her progress. Also, if you'll allow me to brag a bit more, her fluency in August was at 57 words per minute, and in December, 109. So a nice Christmas present for me and her. And March, 102 words per minute, and in the spring, 136 words per minute.
Wow. Joyce, what is the expected fluency rate in second grade?
In second grade, the expected fluency rate is 99 words per minute. So you can tell from 99, she exceeded that with 136. So
Joyce, last week in cluster we focused in on academic feedback. Can you think of an example that might have involved Trista that happened in your classroom recently involving academic feedback, and Trista in particular?
Let's see. Yeah, yes, we were writing, and we were writing a play, a dialogue, and I was walking around to each of the children. And with Trista, she was writing, and she read to me what she had written, and it was yes. She read it, yes, yes, yes. But when I looked at her writing, it had periods after each word yes. So I said, Trista, thinking about writing and expression, is there a way that you can show expression in your writing? And she said, thought about it. Exclamation points. And I said, yes, exclamation points is a way to show expression. And then this would fit in perfectly right with your writing. So she said, that's what I'll add in, Ms. Duncan. I said, that's great. And so as I was sharing with her, the rest of the table, of course, heard that also. And as I walked around, everyone seemed more focused on punctuations and how that could help their writing. So a little bit of academic feedback made a big difference, at least in that point of the lesson.
Great job.
Thank you.
And one more question along that same line. Carol, I was in your room last week, and I noticed that your kids are starting to give academic feedback to each other. Can you talk just a minute about how that started and the impact it's had in your classroom?
Sure. Well, of course, in kindergarten, you have to teach what feedback is first, and then you can move them into academic feedback. So we've practiced that. It's been modeled in the classroom. They practice with each other. And last week we worked on solving addition story problems using different strategies. So as I moved around the tables as they were working, checking what strategies were used and what had been accomplished, I stopped and I reminded them that they would have to write an equation. So I gave them a little bit of work time, and then I stopped again and said, now I'd like for you to turn to your shoulder partner and give them some academic feedback. And as I took my clipboard around taking notes, I stopped and listened to Abby give Mia academic feedback. And she said, Mia, I see that you've used an add-in, a plus sign, an add-in, an equal sign, and then you have your sum. So not only the math academic vocabulary she was repeating, but it went right into feedback, and immediately children at the table and across the room were double checking to make sure they had the equation so it written correctly. So it wasn't just feedback from me, academic feedback, it was actually listening to a child, a kindergarten child, giving true academic feedback, and it impacted the whole classroom.
That's impressive.
Yes.
It's great.
I'll share my chocolate bar.
Oh, I'd rather have one.
Never mind.